See, this fan makes it easy to take off all the electrical parts. So this housing for the wiring, a screw here, a screw down there, and then this thing wraps around. It wraps around, then this thing rests. There's a notch here for that flange sticking off of the timer and the humidity settings. And then you just put a set screw in here. So 3 screws all together. And then, right, we can remove this one. And then we could submerge all this housing and get a good clean on it. Okay, when this came off, this wire was wrapped around the housing inside of here. You could see the grooves. You could see the grooves right where it drops into there. And then this just clips into here. So now we can remove everything that's electrical. And I'll just leave it oriented this way. Now all we've got is plastic to clean up. So even with all these components here, they just kind of, there's a tab so you can lift this and use an air compressor, or just kind of, you're just using a dry Q-tip and maybe a very damp washcloth to get the dust out of the chip and stuff. So I'll take apart what I can take apart just to see all these tabs. I'll just kind of open it up and make sure everything, while I got it out of the ceiling. So inside of this thing, this little piece of metal fell off. So the way this gets oriented is these tabs face down, and they'll go on this catch. You can see how that is shaped like this. And then this goes in the gears. So that's the timer. Screw that back. Two wires going there. So notice it's shaped like a D. So we have to orient it on this. It won't receive it if you don't do it properly anyway. So doing it upside down. There we go. 12. And we just make the shape back together and hook up the wires. See all these this little tab to drop into that tab and everything will line up. Obviously the wires go outside of this metal. So this bottom edge is sharp, so you don't want to cut your wires. So everything's buttoned down. We put this wire back in this port and we rehook the harness. Notice that this part, the plastic should be above the metal, and we have a nice seat. Ready to put it back in the ceiling. So obviously we want to clean as much of this out that we can. Give it a vacuum and then a quick damp cloth wipe out. You can see that's where the housing attaches. Those two screws. Here's the duct damper that I pulled out, so I'm just going to rinse it and get it back in there. Try to clean it out as best I can. So real easy to put the damper in. You see these two pegs? They're just gonna line up with these holes. So this little stopper thing, that should be, see that? Right here where my pointer is. You wanna make sure that when you put this in, you don't put this in front of the stopper. You wanna make sure it's behind it, see that? See? So then it catches right there. Okay, so that's wiped out good enough for me. Just want to get the loose stuff. Now we're good to put the unit back in the housing. Okay, so you can see the two spots where screws go. This is just gonna actually put the screws in when I took this out so I didn't lose them. Right, the exhaust is gonna line up with that, obviously. And I'm just gonna put the two screws back in and put this thing back in there. See that? It just slides right up in there. And when the screws are already partially in, it's gonna be a breeze to do this, because the screws are already ready to go. And then see that white harness? We just have to hook that back up. This goes here. That's that. Controls our CFM. I've got it maxed. Okay, now we just put the cover on. So this sensor is the motion detector. So you want to make sure that's clean if you're using that. And that just sits in this window. So that when it's up here, it can sense you. You can see these catches where the wire can be supported and then the sensor just goes in the window. So let me do that real quick. So that's basically it. Then this just clicks down. There, see how that sits in there? And just make sure your wire is supported and not in the way of this. So it looks like it goes under this thing too. So it's supported everywhere. That's it. Pull the slack into the unit. And just squeeze these and slide them up into here. Just like that. See that? And then we just do the same for this side. And they go on this side. Good to go. There it is. Turn it on.